you hear me?
Yep.
No?
We
He can't hear
Okay.
us.
All right. All right. Yeah, thank you. I am, yeah, I'm a master connector. I specialize in connecting business owners, whether they work at home or they are entrepreneurs like book writers, filmmakers, etc., or the everyday consumer. So I, like Zach says, I call myself a human search engine. I'm a proud U.S. Army 13 Bravo, so I take care of, I love veterans. It's an honor to be here, and I spend most of my time collaborating and networking, along with taking care of my amazing wife who has mental illness. So, eradicating poverty, ending mental health stigma, and educating on financial literacy as we change the world together is what I love doing best. Thank you so much
oh,
for allowing me to be a part of your panel tonight.
holy
Hey,
moly!
you know
Eh,
what, man? We love, as soon as we started doing this, as soon as Les asked me to try to find some people so JW could look at your website, I wanted to get you on because, of the important work that you do. And again, I know that we have only got a little bit of time, but Les, before we get started, did you have any questions for Alan?
No. Do we have his website that we can look at?
Yes, it's the Master Connectors website,
Okay.
JW. Did you
Oh, I
guys
got it.
want me to share it on my screen?
I've got it. I'm on
All
it.
right, perfect.
Do you want him to share it,
Well, you can
JW?
share it here. It's fine. I'm looking at it. I'm on my phone and my computer. I'm looking at it on my computer now.
Okay.
Okay.
I
But
already
that
have it
way
up.
we can see what you're talking about.
Well, I'm not going to talk about this. I wasn't going to talk about the website.
Oh, that's what we were talking about is to make his website
Yeah,
more.
but I don't need the. I can do it talking. I'll go
Okay.
big picture. We've got a lot of problems here. We need to talk about big picture what we're doing first, I think.
Okay.
Okay. And so if I could ask Alan, so what is your secret sauce, Alan, that you use? Do you have a special thing that you do, um, um, Alan?
Well, no, that's a great question. You said Lee, right? Is that, I want to make sure I'm looking at the,
Well,
is
Alan,
that
I
Lee?
got
Oh,
on your
no,
screen.
JW. I'm talking.
Yeah, it's
Sorry, sorry.
JW. And hard.
Well, yeah,
I'm moving.
my secret sauce is basically
Is what?
What's your secret sauce, Alan?
okay. Can you?
Yes, we got you.
Oh yeah, my secret sauce is basically simple. Is I love to personalize my experience when I'm talking to someone. I just simply want to learn how I can be of service to them, and I think of me like a human a concierge at a hotel, high end hotel. That if you're looking for the best restaurant or the best car rental or the best place to spend time with your family, that's what I love doing. Get to know the person. Sometimes it's about business, and other times it's about just checking in. Too many times in our society, we forget to connect with the human being and the person behind the brand, and that's
True.
why I
That's
love
true.
doing what I do, because I always tell people I market in reverse. People say, "What do you mean by that?" Well, I do that by when I meet someone like I'm a brother from another, I call him Mr. Zach Clayton, and now to meet you, JW and Lee, it is an honor and privilege to just get to collaborate and get to know the person and the brand, and then the rest of it'll take care of itself by realizing that with everything that's going on, we have to make sure everybody's okay. First of all, family. And as my platoon sergeant told me in the military, always never leave a person behind. Make sure the children are our future,
So let me quick,
and their
Alan.
resources and technology and everything else will fall into place. So
Great.
I end by you again.
Yeah, so, Alan, if I could ask you a question. So, how many clients do you have?
He just dropped offline, but here he comes again. Here we go again. So, Alan, the question was, how many clients are you currently working with? Oh,
Boy, technology today.
this is going to be
Wow.
a fun one tonight, ain't it, boys?
Shit, I love this.
So, yeah,
That's okay.
you know, the thing about the thing about Alan is he is out there, and he's experienced everything from homelessness to
Yeah. I can
injury.
feel something's going on with this guy a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah.
and and he's out there on a very restricted budget, but he's out there trying to do good for people. So, and the best way to do that is he's just a genuine guy. He loves meeting people. He loves talking to people.
There he
Uh,
is.
he is just a really, really good guy. We've got Alan Holmes back. Alan, the question is, how many clients are you dealing with right now?
Can you hear us?
He looks frozen.
To be completely transparent, I'm rebuilding. Can you hear me?
We can
Yes.
Can you
hear
hear
you
me?
now, buddy.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, can you?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah, to be completely transparent, I have about 2,600 on LinkedIn, but I am still learning as I go, so that I don't.
So basically, are you
I just
getting?
have
Is
access
anybody
to
is anybody paying you now, Alan?
several platforms. One with a gentleman who has 37 million. That my clients take 1%.
So how many money making
Yeah, my
client?
affiliate offers. My affiliate offers, they pay as you go. But I am working the agreement, so it's almost about like a relaunch and a rebeta of what I do.
I got you. So you're not really making a lot of money now. You're in the position where you want to do that and you want to set it up. Is that right? Somebody help me here. Is that right,
Yeah,
Alan?
yeah, he's on a little bit of a
Correct.
delay. So
Yes,
he
sir.
did answer correct, but
Yes,
he's
sir.
on a
Okay.
little bit of a delay.
Okay. So basically, he's in kind of the startup stage, and he's somebody that we can use to help us when we figure out what we want to do with everybody. Is that
Very
right?
much so.
Okay. Great. Okay. So we can go ahead. I got the lay of that land. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oops. Except for my light has decided to go crazy here. I don't know what that's all
Well, if it's
about.
not internet, it's going to be electricity. You know,
What the
we're
hell
going to
was
run the
that?
gamut today, folks.
What
So
the hell was that? I have
Are
no
you
idea.
sure we're not on Halloween?
yeah, I guess.
Oh shit.
The
Sorry, guys.
goblins are out tonight.
Boy, they are. So,
Oh god.
but
All right. So maybe we should start this way. What do we want to accomplish on this call?
I would like to see what suggestions, JW, would you have for Alan just perusing, just looking over, using your program and not giving away the farm. I'm not asking you to give away the farm here, but looking over and just, just at a glimpse, tell Alan what he can do to better reach the people that he's looking to reach by just perusing his website, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, let's start about. So I've probably developed over 25 startups, and we positioned every one of them as number one in their fields. And this is in medical, training, travel, just all sorts of different ones. And what we've done, the way we branded ourselves is we positioned what we do here as the world leader in understanding the neuroscience of what you need to do to turn on people's brain structures so you do what you want them to do. I don't know if you know this. I'll give you a little background. Does anybody know of all the websites are up, what percentage are of, let's say you've got 100 websites up. Do you know what percentage are not making money?
I do not know. I wouldn't have a clue on that.
Anybody want to guess other than less?
So I guess I would leave it up to you, Alan.
You want to guess, Alan?
I would say maybe 30,
Uh,
35%.
40 to 60%.
Okay, it's 90%.
90% is not making money.
Yep, look it up. And you know why?
Uh, wrong targeting strategy.
They're
Strategy.
all doing what the other guy is doing, so it all
Okay,
looks the same. And people don't they can't pay attention. And everybody looks the freaking same.
I can
So what the
understand that.
yeah, and so we've reversed engineered what has to happen in people's brains before they push the buy button. And then because we reversed engineer, what we found is meaning drives all movement. In other words, you guys were both in the military. It's very meaningful to you, right? So something comes up about the military and your
Yeah.
brain goes over there whether you want it to or not. You don't have a choice. When you can understand that activation in your target audience, you can get them to move and they're not even aware they're moving. And this is how we've made all these businesses number one. But the trick is that really it's a trick, but it isn't a trick. But the key is that you have to be of, how do I say this? Increasing the value of that individual's life to make it work right. And you have to come from what you guys are in the service, a place of service. And we found that when we can take the neurobiology of the learning code, we can attach it to a brand. That brand will, their checkout rates and their time on page and everything that we do can increase anywhere from 20 to 1,000%, only because we're accessing their neurobiology. And so that's what we do. And we're working with other companies to help them, or organizations like you guys. How do we get more people to, more veterans to be healed by guys like you or supported with guys like you? So basically, and how you could support us. So basically, what we're here about is we're about transforming the world by changing the way the world learns and changes behaviors. The way we're learning that, think of all that stuff you memorized in school. Do you guys know how much you remember of it right now? Everything you memorized. Do you know what percent you remember now?
Oh, I remember we talked about this last time, and it might be 10% of what I learned in school. Everything, uh,
2%.
yeah,
2%.
everything that. Wow, you're celebrating. What the hell
I
just
don't know.
happened there?
I don't know where that.
That did you just win Jeopardy or what was that?
I have no idea what's going on, guys. My lights
So,
are going off, balloons are coming. This is great.
so Alan, I want to ask you a question real quick, Alan, and maybe this can help out JW and Les. Okay, tell me one thing that you, the master
Yes.
connector, want to do that is so much further and better than everyone else in the connecting world. What is the one thing that you bring to the table that you want to utilize to make a difference for people?
Good question.
Well, I would like to, and as JW said, I would like to bring honor and humility back to solving an individual's problem, meaning that it may not be something that they purchase from me, for example. But if we have a conversation and start that conversation, and it ends up saying that, you know what, wait a minute, based on what you said, Alan, I am not ready to do business with you right now. But I may want to speak to JW because you triggered something in me that said that he can solve my problem or my challenge, and then we can circle back. Because one of the biggest challenges I always tell people don't wake up in the morning and think of Alan Holmes. They think of, how do I get through this thing called life? And sometimes it's just getting out of the bed in the morning to be able to understand what's on the other side. They may have lost a loved one, or they may have
Right.
lost a job, and now they're trying to find. So, in short, meet individuals where they are and be able to solve a problem and watch what happens. It could be a small child, it could be a pastor, it could be a veteran who's being transitioned, or somebody with a disabled who, like, for example, I met yesterday, this gentleman had a general anxiety disorder. However, he is in the process of building the largest nonprofit personal development as well as schools, churches for global humanitarian efforts and being positive. So I never know who I'm going to meet. I know that's kind of a long answer, but I would love to be able to find that one spark to take to the next level to see wherever the world will take us, as long as it's in a positive light.
I think it's
So,
wonderful. I think that's a wonderful answer, JW.
yeah, so what we need to do is we need to take that answer and turn it into a brand that people are attracted to. See, right now you've got an idea that you're trying to get out to the world with you as the spokesperson. What we really need to do is figure out what is the transformation that we are trying or going to create. And then how do we package that so we have everybody buy it? It's really kind of simple. So where you're working, especially in the military and people that are retired military, we can reverse engineer their brain structure, honor, duty, mission, all that stuff. We can repackage everything that's already in their brain structures, attach it to your brand so they can't disengage. So the problem is, we don't at the Learning Code. We don't
And
believe in we
the,
don't believe we don't believe in selling. And do you know why?
Uh,
no.
you, it's hard to buy from yourself is one thing, and there we go again. The
I got
okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's I would go so far as to say that you know what, it's hard to buy yourself. You have to know yourself.
That's good, true too. But here's the other thing: the minute you know somebody is selling you, you do this with your
Yep.
biology.
Yep.
So we don't believe in selling at the Learning Code Institute. We believe in activating what's most meaningful in people and having them see we can get them more of it. That's
Yeah.
all we do.
You
Then they
know,
don't have a choice.
Yeah. I agree.
Then they're doing the directing. We're not doing the directing. And this is how we've made all these businesses number one in their field. We're not into selling. We're into helping people get more of what they want and seeing us as the market leader that can get them that.
wow.
And so
I
what we could redo,
Wow.
I'm going to riff here. What we could do is reverse engineer the brain plan of the kind of the, and I don't know what happens to this thing. Now I see the top of my head. It's just jumping all over the place. But anyway, the bottom line, so sorry, you may not see me because I can't get my arm far enough away with it. My room's too long for my cord. So I'll work on that in a second. But anyway, what happens is the great thing about the military is we know where they've been. We know pretty much where they've experienced. We understand the hierarchical system. We know a lot about what's going on in their brains. We can reverse engineer that, take it and use it to what's already meaningful to them and attach it to our brand to get them to move faster, either to buy or take action. So what I'm thinking is, you know, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Now, you guys are going to punch me in the nose, but I grew up in the time of Vietnam and I went to military school and I was getting ready to go to Vietnam in 1972 and everybody was getting on the plane and coming back because the war was over. I didn't know what to do. I was so set on going to Vietnam, I was lost. So you know what I ended up doing? I joined the Peace Corps.
hey,
And you know why?
everybody's got a path.
Mhm.
Hey guys, Alan unfortunately has to jump. He's got another meeting to go to. Alan,
Okay.
I hope that we can continue this conversation next time though. I think that we're going to make some inroads that are going to help you out. I'll make sure that I send an email to an introduction email so you guys can contact Alan and have a further conversation with him. And maybe when you guys are talking, there won't be all the boogaboos with the internet.
Yeah, it's
I don't
good.
know. So, but Alan, I want to thank you so very much
Well,
for
no,
joining us.
Zach, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah,
Yep.
now if you could go look at the
Oh,
website,
absolutely. It is
just
honor and privilege.
yeah, Alan, just check the website out before we
Okay.
talk next, if you would, okay? Then you'll get it.
And I'll send you all that information,
thelearningcode.com.
Alan. But again,
Absolutely.
yep. But
I
thank,
will. And it's been an honor to meet both of you. And thank you, Zach, for doing what you're doing and changing the world, sir.
all right. Well, thank you, sir. You have a good meeting, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, probably. So, but thank you very much. That was Alan Holmes, the master connector. I want to thank him very much for working with us. JW, I'm sorry to cut you off there. I
That's all right.
had to let him go. I knew that he had to run. But if you want to, hey, that's a nice adding
I'm
machine you
trying.
had there.
I'm trying to get this freaking phone. I got to take it like 9 miles away from me. Oh shit. Anyway, there we go.
So, all right.
I'm
So,
half balanced. So
hey, yeah, you know what? I've got a head injury, so you look fine to me. So we'll just go with that. But yeah, one of the things that you said, and we brought this up last month when we talked, and I got rid of the word fundraising out of my name, because as soon as you say fundraising, people put both hands on their wallets. They're like, oh, nope, nope.
That's
And
exactly right.
my company has nothing to do with taking money from people. But you say the word fundraising, and instantly that's where the mind goes. So yeah, when you say sales, immediately that's where that mind goes. You're muted now.
Yeah, you're muted, JW.
Wow, it doesn't say he's muted. I don't know what happened there. Maybe you're going to need to go out and come back in again. I think it took the speaker off when it blacked out on us. So hopefully this will work again. Les, what did you hear in that little conversation? Because in that 10-minute conversation, I heard a lot.
Okay, well, why don't you tell me?
Look, I think, well, first off, I know Alan. I know his mission. I know what his mission is. And with his ambition and with what he wants to do, and if he takes and he looks at the end result and we walk backwards from that, I think we're going to look at a quicker result, right?
Right. Well, one of the things that JW mentioned, and we're going to mention here, is like, for instance, if he has those all those contacts he's talking about, then we're going to allow people to represent the cracking the sales code. And it won't cost him anything if he contacts this, and yourself also, if you contact like for instance, a real estate company, and you introduce this to them, and then we're going to pay you monthly for all the employees that sign up. And so that's one of the things JW mentioned as far as helping him. But the whole concept is having something that people see valuable immediately. And that's one of the things JW was trying to put across, is he knows all these veterans and is just honor, and persistence and so forth that the military uses. It's just connecting with that part of them. And then what we call is connecting values to values. And when that happens, it's like JW says, this happens. And they just can't pull apart because now you're part of them. And that's one of the things here at the end we plan on doing, is any of the people on here, if you know a membership group, or if you know, like for instance, real estate that has 15 agents, we're going to be offering 20%. We're going to start off at $20 a month, so it's very affordable for everybody. And you get 20%, so $4. So if you get 30 people, that's $130 or $120, and then it can grow from there. But anybody that is struggling, we now have a vehicle. And again, if you introduce this, we'll do the education. So that's one of the things that I want to mention to all your followers, is
All right.
you now have a vehicle to go out there and start with, plus the world famous Learning Code Institute.
All right. We have JW back and we can hear him. I can hear the clucking on his phone. So I almost said clucking, but it's clucking.
Static going on here. Do you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Your voice is all messed up,
Yeah, all right,
JW.
but here's my problem, guys. You were hearing the static because I've got my phone plugged in because it's about ready to go dead. So anyway,
Okay.
forget the static. My headset will work.
So I'll use that. If we cut off,
Yeah,
we'll just
that
come
works.
back and do it again.
All right.
Okay.
Yep. That sounds good. So, um, All right, JW. The one thing that I said and Les agreed with is, look, I love what his vision is, and so what you're telling us is that if we look at the end goal, if we look at what his end goal is, and we walk that backwards, it's easier to achieve success with this.
Yeah, in other words, you need to know, without knowing where you're going, there's no way to build the roadmap to get there.
Right, right.
And and so here's the biggest problem. What people do is they talk about how much money they're going to make. Our research shows people aren't interested in money, they're interested in what the money can get them. It's really fascinating. It's not the money, it's the peace, the fulfillment, the joy, the happiness that the money can get them. And so, really, when you understand what we call meaningful marketing, what's driving people meaningfully, and then you can help them get more of it, oh my God, they won't leave you alone. And so, where you are, you're in the military space, maybe you want other partners, maybe you want to do it yourself, but we could put together something that is the world's leading program to help people in the military after they get out. And it's
Yeah.
and it's not about learning. These guys are all taking courses on welding or whatever they're doing or trying to be in marketing. And the problem is, unless they understand what their brain plan is and understand what their brain plan needs, we just do what the school system told us to do, which makes us all miserable. So what we can do is we can take somebody like the fellow that was just on the phone there. I mean, I could tell right away that he's a little, you work with him, Zach. You could tell he's like this, right? Because he doesn't know where he's going. He doesn't know how to get there. And he doesn't have a day-to-day operational plan to know how to do that. And that's what we gave people in the military. And so we kind of got to do the same thing. And especially since you've got people in the military, we know what their brain plan is. We know where they spent at least 2 years and maybe a heck of a lot more. We know a lot about their brain plan that we could spend some time reverse engineering and get our marketing message to activate that so they take action and buy a lot more from us.
Yeah, yeah. That's fantastic. I know that there's with people in the military, one of the biggest problems that they have when they get out of the military is there's no longer that structure there. Does this
It's
have a lot
awful.
to do? Yeah, does this have a lot to do with maybe some of the disconnect between their brain and their actions?
Well, what the disconnect, so what happened was when they were in the military, they had the structure. If they went out of the structure, they ended up in the frickin' brig, right? So
Yep, yep.
they didn't have a choice. But so what happened was forced them to do certain things within a certain sphere. In other words, if you go outside of the sphere, you get slapped, right? So that's a punishment strategy. What we're talking about is a little different. We're talking, and you can keep people on track with the reward and punishment. They may not be happy, but you can make them do all sorts of shit. If I gave you $1,000,000, you eat a bucket of worms, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I would too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so what we do is but that's not meaningful to you. You're not going to do that without the money. So what we want to do is help people so they can be joyful in what they're doing, whether they get the money or not. But the deal is they're going to get the money because when something is meaningful to you, you see things that when you're focusing on the money that you don't. When you
Yeah.
know, so let's take a military guy who's interested in getting more out of life. So talk to me about one of your clients, Zach. Do you have a particular client you work with? And let's just throw him out there. I'll tell you what we might be able to do with him.
Well, we've this why don't we just do this? You were asking me a question before we were coming on, and you were asking me questions about myself. Why don't
Right.
Is this a good
Yeah, we'll
time?
use you. Yeah, we'll use you.
There
Yeah.
we go. We'll just use me. So go on ahead and ask away, and we
So
can. Oh,
why
by
did you
the way,
join the military?
if anybody has any questions, type them in. We'll ask the questions right now live on air. So please do.
Great. So why did you go into the military?
Actually, sir, I did not go into the military.
Oh, I thought you were in the
Yeah,
military. I
no,
just took
no,
that for granted.
no. I did not. And you know, JW, I didn't want to cut my hair and I didn't want to get yelled at, so I got married instead.
And then you had to cut your hair and behave anyway. I get it.
No, I just pulled my hair out, So that was 2 marriages ago. But yeah, I just ended up pulling my hair out, and yeah, I have definitely been
That's
yelled at enough.
that's great. That's great. That's great.
So
Well, yeah. So basically, what everybody is doing is they're searching for meaning, and that is why you ended up doing what you did in life. People that would go into the military going because they think it'll give them more meaning. And
yeah,
wherever we go, basically, we're chasing meaning. But what can happen is we can think money will give us meaning. And literally, there's plenty of psychiatric hospitals full of rich people that don't have meaning in their life. Without meaning, we don't have a rudder to our ship. So we go for the money. And then it's stressful because meaning creates neurochemicals of joy like dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, lowers your cortisol, your stress hormone levels. So what happens is when you don't have it and you're chasing it, it's really a very difficult time to be in. And so if you can help people understand what's meaningful to them while they're in the process, one, their brain becomes more efficient, their focus becomes more efficient, and the results increase dramatically.
yeah.
So I'm thinking on this call, maybe there's a way, Zach, to use your background. So, Zach, I think maybe it would help Les and I if you gave us a little background about how you got into this, and then maybe that'll give us some context from where we could figure out, how we take this information and make you a market leader.
Yeah, JW, this all got started because look, I am a biker. Okay, I love the
What kind of
biker.
bike? What kind of bike do you have?
A Harley day. I'm a Harley guy. I am a Harley guy. I've had both I had a Fat Boy. The Fat Boy is what I got ran off the road on, and then I got a Geezer. Or I had a Geezer Glide. Loved them both. Would ride them all the time. I just can't get anything smaller than a Fat Boy. I really would look like an elephant riding a unicycle. It would not be a good look. So but I like the bigger, beefier. I just it fits me better. But yeah, I'm huge into that. So it looks like we hopefully he
Lost
can
him
still
again.
hear. But yeah,
Can you hear us? Nope, he's
uh,
gone.
it looks like his phone may have died on us. So, but why don't let's while we're waiting for him because I don't want to. Oh,
Oh, here he is.
there we are. So yeah, JW. One of the things that we do as bikers is we spend every weekend trying to find ways to help people. There's a lot of times that people see us and we're out and they're like, oh God, here they are. They're all, getting together. They're out there in their black leather, drinking beer, raising hell, doing all this. And they're right. We are. But we're doing it most of the time to raise money for a cause.
Right,
I've
right.
always loved trying to find different ways to help people. And when I was run off the road 10 years ago, and I was left in a ditch for multiple hours. And I knew that when I was starting to come around to it with the fractured skull, busted face, and the broken neck, I knew my life was going to be different.
Hmm.
And so my first thought, JW, was I was going to get into event planning. And I started putting the pieces together and started coming up with all these wonderful ideas. What do I need to do for event planning? It was a long 15 seconds because I realized I don't like people enough to plan events for them. So,
Oh,
you know, that's not going to work for me. So, I I started thinking about it, and one of the things that I enjoy the most are small businesses, small nonprofits.
yeah, that's meaningful to you.
Yeah, it means everything to me.
So that meaning is in your head, so you're attracted to that category.
Yeah, very much so.
It's almost like you don't have a choice.
Yeah, you know, I guess I could say I would have a choice, but why?
Yeah,
I would much rather be able to tell the story of a small business owner like Les, somebody who is out there doing good, and you know what? When people have a problem, they call less. They don't call corporate or somebody in another country that they can't understand, that doesn't understand what they're talking about. They
right.
call the individual who is in charge. They call him. They get answers. They get that real. Okay. And one of the things that I love doing, and what we try to do with this show, with everything that we do, is we tell people more than just business. We want to know what Les did with, he and his wife, they go on these wonderful dinners, they go on these wonderful dates. We want to know about that stuff. We want to know more about people, because every single one of us, JW, and this is the way I truly, truly feel. Every single one of us, we're going to say something that we don't think it means a whole hell of a lot. Okay. But there's going to be somebody sitting in the background with a problem that's going to hear what we say, and it's
That's
going to
right.
click in their mind, and they're going to go, holy shit, that's it. That's what I've been missing. And it could just be the way that you structure a sentence, and it's going to make sense to them.
Right.
And it's going to change their way of thinking, and it's going to get them out of an issue. And so
Right.
that's the reason why I love working with small businesses, small nonprofits, love trying to find different ways to help people.
Right. So I'm wondering, so how do you think we could work together? What do you think? How do you think we could work together?
Les, our JW and Les, I mean, I love the track that we're on right now. I really hope that we're able to find more people to where we can, because I see what you're saying with
Yeah.
the things that we learned in school. I love history. I love right now. I love history. I live history. I pay attention to history at least 10 hours a day, whether it's,
That's because it's meaningful to you.
yes,
And all we have to do
hated
is
it in school.
right, but all we have to do is figure out what is meaningful to our target audience generally, and then we package our marketing into what's already in their head, and then they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And this is not selling. This is matching meanings. It's very different.
Yeah.
Selling creates resistance. When you can help somebody get more what's meaningful in their lives, they will never leave you alone.
And let's be honest here. Small nonprofits, okay, small business owners, they do this because there was something that happened in their life. There
Yes.
was something that happened. Say they went out to go buy their first house, and they were like, you know what, if I was going to sell a house, I would have done this because I know that was the one piece that was missing when I bought my house.
Yeah.
So when I'm going to go and sell this house, I'm going to do it this way because I think that's going to mean something for people. Small nonprofits, they sit there and they don't build a nonprofit because they have an extra $100 in their pocket and they're like, yeah, what the hell? They build these organizations because something happened in their life, something physically
Yes,
and
yeah, that's
mentally touched
exactly right.
them.
A defining event. Something
Yep,
happened. We
that's it.
call it at the Institute, we call it a precipitating event. It's an event that participated, kind of like got them to do something else that they would have not been doing before. And see, people in the military, this is why I think maybe it's you or maybe it's you and a group of other people, but I think if we could come together with the world's number one training, learning, transformation program for people that were in the military after you get out, you'd be in great shape because everybody that comes out of the military has the same problem. What the hell am I going to do next?
Yet you look when these kids join the military, they basically and we talked to Terry the other day, and Terry said when my son went in, I received a box, and this box had everything from his underwear to his shoes to his retainer, and basically it was like, Mom, here's the son that you knew because he's not here no more.
Right.
They take away, and Les, you are a veteran, you can
Yes.
attest to this.
Yes.
They take away your first 18 years. Your
Yeah.
first 18 years is now irrelevant.
And it's the first day you get to base. They say,
Yeah.
here's your new clothes, get all that stuff in the box and get rid of it. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then when they let you go, they put you in a small bit of training and they let you get on with life. And we're expecting these people to take and adjust.
Right.
As simply as that. And there's a misconnect there. There is a terrible, terrible disconnect there because look, you can't forget what you've learned just and the way that you've lived
Right.
for 2, 3,
You're
4
you're
years.
not going to forget it. What you can do though is you can use it to make your present better.
Very much so.
Yeah, and and here's the fascinating thing: whether you're in the military or not, basically againstness has never worked. Everybody thinks power is the answer, but if you look back in history to prehistoric times, the tribes that would beat the other tribe would get defeated. Then, after a few years to a few months to whatever, then the guys that got defeated would come up and defeat the guys that defeated them. And this has been the history of war in the world forever. War doesn't work. It only stops us for a while until the next war.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and here's the fascinating thing. I don't want to get against anything, but basically what happens is once you see force as your answer to a problem, it's hard for your brain to unwind from that. That's where Trump is right now. It's not that it's good or bad, it's just biology. Once you see force as the answer, you don't get off it. But the problem is force is making you use less of your brain power. It literally forces the blood flow in your brain to the least evolved part of your brain. So what happens there? I use more force to kick your ass. So what do? You use more force to kick my ass. And then we just do this until we blow each other up. That's exactly if we stay on this track where the world will go.
I think another great example of that is when we are children, when we are small children, and we get set in front of that toy set with the round peg, square hole. We sit there and pick up that mallet and we're going to beat the hell out of that thing. And
That's right. Yeah.
we get mad
Yeah,
and
that's
we
right.
get angry
Yeah.
and we walk away. We throw a
Right.
fit and we walk away until we realize, wait a minute, hold on. This
There's
looks,
got to be a better way.
yeah. And this is perfect because the other day I was doing a more advanced puzzle than she is. My 3-year-old granddaughter. We were sitting down, we were doing a puzzle. And I experienced this. She got so frustrated because she couldn't figure it out because there were a lot of pieces for her.
Uh huh.
But once I explained to her how it goes, how you don't need to force it when they go together nice and easy. As soon as she got it, there was celebration, not frustration.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
And then what you say is, remember the last time when you were frustrated, you broke through, and they see the pattern. And yeah. So and there's nothing better than working with kids like you're doing. You get to see it in action. So
Yeah.
here's what I'm thinking: if you have time, what I would do is I would get the book Cracking the Learning Code, and I would just skim the first 2 chapters about what's wrong in the world, because it's what's wrong in the mills, it's wrong everywhere. And then I would go to the chapters on called the Meaning Network. Just get the ebook for $4. And then I would skim a couple of those chapters. And then I think we could come back, unless you tell me what you think. I think we could come up and we could create something that maybe is the number one learning system for people that have been in the military. Now, we don't do it ourselves. We may get other people and we may get partners, but there's a huge problem here. And the solutions that we're using are not really getting people what they want.
Correct.
And so I think if we could start thinking about that, how we position this as the number one learning program or transformational program in the world for people that have been in the military, so they can get more of what they want. Holy moly, that's a
And
moneymaker right there.
And see, also, Zach, all of the different military people that are already in out of the service and in business. Again, by representing the cracking the sales code, you can go in there and help them with their business. And you can
Yeah.
also do that with nonprofits because everybody needs to understand how the brain works.
Yeah.
And once they do that, the nonprofit gets more funding or supporters and everything, and you can be a leader in this.
Yeah. Well, as JW is talking about, he does have a book, cracking the brain or
The learning
cracking
code.
the learning code. Sorry about that. The science of transforming. And you can find his book right here on Amazon just by putting in, as you can see up top, I just hit in JW Wilson. His book came right up. So you can go to JW Wilson and it's right there. $4.99 for Kindle, $30 for paperback. So, but you can just go on to Amazon and click J.W. Wilson. You'll find the book, uh, and I look forward to reading more about that. Um, and look, I really enjoyed JW you being on with us the last couple months because this is so important what we're trying to do. Our focus is trying to help these small businesses. One of the other things that we're doing with our networking group, which is tomorrow, is we are trying to get people who are looking for jobs to come on. And JW, I think that what you're doing, unless what you guys
That'd
are
be
doing,
fun. Yeah, it'd be fun. Yeah.
I think this is so important because you could take somebody who is giving us that verbal resume and you can say, look, you can polish this up by simply doing this. So, I mean, look, we are looking for people to join us the first or the second Thursday of every month on our networking group, and everybody is more than welcome to come and join us for the first part or for the rest of this year. But yeah, you know, Les, this is fantastic. I love this conversation. I really do.
Right. And that's one of the things that I'm excited about it because the more I spend time with JW, the more I understand all the mistakes that the education, even corporate and so forth, have made. And that's what we're super excited that the course should be out hopefully next week. And then, and that's one of the things. It's real life help. It's not theory. It works. And that's so much out there is theory, and people try it and can't figure out why it doesn't work and so forth. But this, it's the brain.
Right, right. So, well, gentlemen, this again has been fantastic. JW, I want to thank you for the last 2 months. And of course, you're always welcome to come back anytime that you want. I think that the more people we can get on here, we can help them turn their life
I
around.
got I got some ideas, Zach. I think what we ought to do, Les, you and I ought to take a time to talk after, maybe later in the week, that we ought to set up a time to talk because you're on to something. And what I know about the military brain or that kind of brain, I think there's a lot we could help in a lot of different areas. And I'd love to work with you and try to
Well,
figure out how to do that.
as Les knows, and he's been a huge part of the last 2 years, I do a 22-hour podcast every February 22nd for veterans for the mental health and suicide ideation. I put myself out there for 22 hours. You know, God love everybody who can sit there and listen to even 22 minutes of it. But, we have a lot of fun. We hear stories.
Oh, this would be
Oh,
fun to,
oh,
yeah, let's talk about that because I'd like to I got some ideas for promoting something like that.
yeah. Hey, you know what? Let's make sure that that happens. So, but JW, thank you very much for the last couple of months. And like I said, you're more than welcome to join. All you got to do is get a hold of me. I'd love to talk to you more. Les, of course, you're my brother. I appreciate this so much. You're an invaluable partner. I love having your partnership, and we're gonna just keep going till we get it right. right?
All right. Yeah, we just need a little more form to this. We need to get clear about what our goal is, and then we got to get an operational plan to make it happen. You're onto something, dude. I'm in. I'm in.
That
Okay.
sounds great. I appreciate it. Well, Les, do you have anything final for us?
No, I think we pretty much covered it all. And again, the course is going to be out, and we're going to offer, people to represent it, and we'll be back. And then your niche is small businesses. I'm sure some people listening would like to be able to go up to a car dealership with 12 salespeople and so forth. But I don't know if that's your idea of small business also. But you have a lot of connections. You've been in Greeley for a long time, so we can get the word out and help businesses and help your pocketbook at the same time.
Boy, I have been in Greeley for a long time. I've been here for at least a day or two. So, all right,
All
gentlemen.
All
right,
right.
guys. Thanks so much.
Hey, thank you both
And
very
sorry, and
much.
sorry for the technical problems I had, guy. I don't know what was going on. I
You know
apologize.
what's funny though is that we fought through it. We stuck with it and we got it done. So
Get her done.
I mean that's just what we've got to do. That's what we expect other people to do. That's what we did. We got her done. So,
Okay, guys. Thank
but
you so much, and
no problem.
thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you both very much. Have a great evening.
Bye bye.
I want to thank Les. I want to thank JW very much for joining us. Again, there's so much in that because the truth is that look, it's in all of us to succeed. Okay, it's really how we go about it. What do we, are we going to try to plan things and bum rush? Are we going to, like they're saying, forget? You don't have to forget what you learned in school because JW is telling you you don't remember a lot of it anyway. You study, in which this is one of the things that we talked about the last time that we didn't really talk about too much. Okay. One of the things that happens when you're in school is you study and you think you remember, but the truth is that you're sitting there and you're listening to stuff because you're studying for a quiz that that's coming up on Friday. By Saturday, when you're playing on the merry-go-round and playing with your cute little girlfriend, or you're riding bikes, or those naughty people who are out having parties, kids, don't do that. It's dangerous. But when they're out there, you're not thinking about what you learned. And if you don't, you hear it all the time. If you don't feed your brain doesn't stick. Okay. So you got to make sure that you're feeding your brain. You got to make sure that you're making sure that information is staying in there. It's so very important. So, Les Simpson, you can get a hold of Les Simpson by giving him a call at 303 579 6881. 303 579 6881. You can shoot him an email at les@corecentrica.com. That's les@corecentrica.com. Again, you can also get a hold of J.W. Wilson by going to thelearningcode.com. You can learn more about him, and it will direct you to where you can buy his book, Cracking the Learning Code. A lot of information in there. One of the things, and I've learned this through a couple conversations I've had, is that anybody who's ever taken a sales class, you hear about those the 4 types of people. And it always tells you that, you're going to be able to match with one person, somewhat work with another person, but you're going to have a problem with this person. Really? I think we don't need to do that if we expand on what we've learned. if we keep expanding, if we keep learning things, there's no reason why you can't work with someone else. Maybe working with somebody is a giant pain in the butt. Okay? I don't know anybody who's a business person that's a giant pain in the butt. I'm just telling you. I don't know a single. Yeah. There are people who you're not going to quite understand, that you're not going to quite get along